Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Joan of Arc, Martin Luther King Jr., and Larry the Lobster. Do you see where I'm going with this? All these people have something in common. All famous historical figures, all persecuted for their beliefs, and all standing for what's right. Let's try another one. Joseph Stalin, the German guy whose name I can't even say on YouTube. Jeffrey Edward Epstein, the Antichrist, P. Diddy, Keemstar, and loser number 2 from SpongeBob. All textbook definition evil. All vile pieces of human refuse, all masquerading as the good people in their respective communities. Now let's fast forward a bit to modern day. And by modern day, I mean July 17th of 1999.
One happy 1999!
This is not a new phenomenon. We are a famously unprofitable company.
Right. Nickelodeon's newest, spongiest, square, fanciest Nicktoon!
When Season 1, Episode 2 of the now famous animated television show SpongeBob SquarePants aired its iconic episode titled Ripped Pants. Now this episode is an important piece of history for a number of reasons. Number 1, it's the first time where SpongeBob is actually completely butt-ass naked in the entire show's run. Number 2, it's one of the first times we are introduced to the location Goo Lagoon. And 3, it's the first episode without the Semitic crustacean Eugene Krabs or Gary. And arguably, most importantly, this episode is the debut episode of everyone's favorite character, Larry the Lobster, or Larry T. Lobster, as his wiki would say. Speaking of which, I wanted to get some background information on Larry before we get this video moving. It says here his interests are weightlifting, which is an obvious one, very based, very traditional. I'd argue he's probably the strongest non-god character in SpongeBob.
Thanks, I work out.
Whatever, you get the point. This one's obvious, all right? Volleyball, which, look, it's a little bit more feminine of a sport in my opinion, but, he's not a fat, useless fuck like Patrick, so he's clearly getting some gain out of it. Girls, which, again, is an obvious one, because Larry gets bitches, ladies. He, unlike SpongeBob, is not asexual.
Unaccompanied minors.
And is not canonically autistic. No disrespect to SpongeBob, but Larry pulls! And who can blame him? If you're a female fish living in Bikini Bottom, are you gonna go for this guy? Or are you gonna go for this guy? Larry the Lobster is genetically superior to every other male character in the show, and I'm not even exaggerating. He's the only recurring fish character who I'd actually say takes their health seriously. And yes, I understand it's a kid's show, but Larry doesn't have sex. He fucks hard. His other interests include lifeguard, partying, and going to the tanning salon, apparently. Which, maybe that's true. I don't know. The dude's fucking red. I don't know what his end goal is, but, he can do whatever he wants. He has a job. He has an active social life. He has bitches. If he wants to spend his money at the tanning salon, whatever. He has a lot more going on in his fucking life than that big, fat, hairy, pink fuck Patrick. And the only reason I'm digging on Patrick so much in this video is because of that one episode where the town abandoned SpongeBob.
Live? Well, where did you go?
It was National No SpongeBob Day!
And, Patrick at the end is a fucking dick for no reason.
You too, Patrick?
Yeah, everybody needs at least one day away from...
Fuck off, Patrick, you're an asshole. Also, some other things to note, according to this wiki, is he possibly lives at the fucking lagoon, and apparently he's 25 years old, which is such a weird specific age for SpongeBob. I am almost the same age as Larry the fucking Lobster, and I am nowhere near as accomplished as him. At the end stretch of my life, making videos about a fucking cartoon show for little tiny babies that maybe 7 people will watch. Statistically, if you're watching this right now, I'm probably old enough to be your fucking daddy, alright? I want to be living like Larry, motherfucker. So, existential crisis aside, let's go ahead and analyze Larry's first episode titled Ripped Pants. The episode starts with this nice guy gamer 4chan incel soyjack sorry ass fuck known as SpongeBob SquarePants trying to interspecies breed with his uninterested love interest Sadie at the beach. And yes, I am going to call her his love interest in this because the song at the end of the episode has the line, "And no girl ever wants to dance." So in my headcanon at least, SpongeBob is trying to get some squirrel ass. So we watch SpongeBob for a bit, he's trying to bust out some jokes, he's trying to make Sandy laugh, and he probably pays for her OnlyFans. It's really just a sad, pathetic display. When suddenly, Larry's presence is felt before he even gets on the screen with this ginormous looming shadow.
Hey, SpongeBob.
Hey, Larry.
Alright, I want to pause right here and quickly analyze this frame. I'm going to mark some things on your screen here, so pay attention. First things first, we see Larry absolutely height mobs SpongeBob in this scene. He looks to be like almost double his height, which is just so tragic for Chud Bob, honestly. He has an overall relaxed body language. It looks like he even knows that he doesn't have to try that hard to get attention because no matter where he is, whenever he's in a room, all the eyes are on him, and he knows it. Like, this fucker knows it. Just like in this scene, and this will be a common theme as we go forward with this episode. The femoid brain on Sandy is immediately seizing all attention. She was even pity-giving to SpongeBob. SpongeBob may as well not even be in this scene. Like, it's just pathetic. And if we look closely at SpongeBob's face, he's giving this sort of a tight mouth, almost primate-looking surprised expression. Like, even being asexual, he is still very much threatened by Larry's masculinity. This is just textbook definition mogging. And it should be mentioned that Larry is straight as an arrow in this scene. Like, his body language, he takes up a large chunk of the frame and is absolutely controlling the room with his body presence alone.
You guys want to go lift some weights?
Sure.
It should be noted that Larry did not say anything mean to SpongeBob at all. He wasn't even trying to flirt with his Discord kitten. He simply walks up to them and says, "Hey, you guys want to go lift some weights?" SpongeBob is absolutely devastated that the attention is not on him for even a single second. It's actually really pathetic, and it's very out of character of him, frankly. Like, I mean, this is an early episode, so I'll give him some credit, but... So, anyways, the gang all goes to this little gym area, and there's a crowd there, because obviously there's a crowd there, because wherever Larry goes, there's usually a crowd that follows. He just has this sort of magnetic aura personality that Soy Bob is very clearly lacking. People just seem to enjoy being around him. He's very alpha, very extroverted, and a very clear leader of the pack. And this scene, SpongeBob's fragile beta male ego, or what's left of it, is shattered even more when he is mogged on by not only Larry, but his love interest Sandy in the same scene.
No.
Go hit the gym.
No.
And as he's lifting, eventually, as the title predicts, SpongeBob shits his pants in front of everyone, and the entire crowd just laughs. And since he has the insecurity of a greasy middle school boy, he assumes that they are laughing at him. Until Sandy says,
Ain't he the funniest little sponge you ever saw?
and immediately, without skipping a beat, his crocodile tears go away because SpongeBob's pornography-rotted brain gets a boner. He's like, wow, I got female attention. Wow, this is great. Like, this scene just pisses me off. You are so fucking fake, SpongeBob. It pisses me off. He folds under the slightest amount of attention, especially female attention. And Larry does not watch pornography, by the way. Larry doesn't thirst over fish bitches. He doesn't pay for OnlyFans. Larry gets all the attention he could ever want just by being his genuine self. It's just something Cougar Bob could never even comprehend in his tiny fucking mind.
Anybody up for some volleyball?
SpongeBob just absolutely pisses me off in this frame. Like, get that frown off your face, pick up some fucking bitches, you fucking loser. So this pattern goes on for quite a bit. SpongeBob gets indirectly mogged on by his superior, and he retaliates by shitting his pants so he can even get a cheap chuckle by people who don't even know his name. And obviously, since he's a talentless one-trick pony incel, the people of Bikini Bottom very quickly find him obnoxious and just a social untouchable. And consequently, his social isolation transforms and mutates into active disdain from his fellow man. So to put this in simple terms, Shit Bob becomes Chris Chan after Barb. He even goes as far to faking his own death, much like Boogie fakes cancer. And like Boogie2988, he's a big fat lying fuck who everyone can see through the second he lets his mask slip. Larry, on the other hand, is honest, Larry is confident in his own abilities, and Larry, despite Cuckbob's untouchable autistic status, still shows kindness and consideration to him throughout this entire episode's runtime. It's honestly admirable. Sandy at this point is just 100% gravitated to Larry.
Even Sandy, she'd rather hang out with Larry. Oh no.
She's on the Larry train because despite SpongeBob paying for her private Snapchat, she knows that her pay pig doesn't provide shit to the table besides lies, Reddit gold, and a bottomless pit of an ego that he tried filling with Sandy's cheeks and attention by publicly shaming himself like a carnival freak. And honestly, the episode could have just ended here and it would have provided a much more valuable lesson than the ending we actually got. Because holy fuck, do I have a problem with how this episode ends. He meets 3 other social rejects on iFunny and they start singing, and it's obviously a very iconic scene. It's a very famous scene. It's probably a top 3 SpongeBob song, but one lyric pisses me off more than anything else on this fucking planet.
When Big Larry came round just to put him down, SpongeBob turned into a clown.
What the fuck did Larry do to you? You disgusting yellow fuck. Larry was good to you, Bobby. Your background dancers can respectfully shove it up their asses because, spoiler alert, they weren't there. They met you 10 seconds ago. How the fuck do they even know? Alright, Larry was trying to be inclusive. He probably thought you were special needs or something and felt bad for your stupid ass. So SpongeTard, with his infinite wisdom, was so threatened by this Greek statue of a lobster that he orchestrates this entire song number where he self-victimizes himself because that's the only way he could ever get attention from his fan base that he once had. He puts a halo over himself and he puts devil horns over Larry despite him literally just existing. And despite all of this, Larry still, at the end of the song, compliments him.
That was so righteous.
Like, this was a diss track directed towards Larry, and he still goes up and congratulates SpongeBob. Like, what a fucking champ. Larry the Lobster is not here just to bring you down, you fucking selfish loser. Larry is what every young man should strive to be. Sandy should be with Larry, making babies in front of this yellow cum stain, because this episode frankly pisses me off. And Larry, with this limited screen time in the SpongeBob mythos, remains misunderstood, he remains Christ-like, and he just remains kind to everyone. He's just always in a good mood. And I encourage you all to live like Larry and downvote SpongeBob all the way back to r/atheism jail.
Sandy's a girl?
Now I learned a lesson I won't soon forget. So listen and you won't regret. Be true to yourself.